So apparently there's a thought that we should preserve this, but at the same time hide it. I'm not sure why. It's actually kind of cool. But it's dated, but I don't know. It kind of coincides with a mid-century modern feel. But it's not for me to decide. So for what I've got to decide is where to start. So I'm just going to remove the crown molding. I'm going to find all the studs. I'm going to locate on the backside. There's a bathroom, and it used to be a laundry room. So I'm going to locate all of the plumbing, make sure that I don't run any fasteners into that. And we'll see what kind of trouble we can get in. I'm a big fan of these Franklin stud finders. Actually, my first one, I broke it. It's just in my tool bag. I got to make a little case for this one. This one, a very super duper buddy of mine sent this to me from Valdosta, Georgia, and it's got a little level in there, so that's fun. And then there's like a little pencil in here that you can't really get. It's just you push it in, it goes further. It doesn't spring out or anything, but it detects electricity, which a lot of stud finders these days do. You can go to Home Depot and get a stud finder that detects electricity. I think it's, the brand is, I forget. It's the typical one that they have. But this Franklin brand one, Franklin Sensors, Professional M210, that's the one. I've just had the best luck with these. So anyway, so now I found all the studs. I'm just gonna take a little look-see in the bathroom over here, take a couple of preliminary measurements and just kind of see where the plumbing zones are. There's a sink here and there's supply lines for the old washer and dryer. So I just got to make sure that, that I understand where those babies are at. Oh my goodness. So, everything right there is obvious. It's going to come from below. And I would say that, this is just super simple stuff, but no matter what happens, that's my biggest thing when I'm attaching anything to a wall, be it base molding, cabinets, whatever trim, crown molding, and I always go down to the basement to find, where it's coming down, the direction, and this is the most important thing, I always have a clear understanding of where the main shutoff is and how I go about that. Whenever you gotta shut the water off, be it on purpose or in an emergency factor, always shut the city side off. If you're on a well, it really doesn't matter. But have a clear understanding of where that's at before you start this. I'm telling you, man, in the 30 trillion years I've been doing this, just knowing that is so valuable. I bet you, I honestly can say that there's been about 3 or 4 times where just following that practice was worth its weight in gold. And before you start a project, you should know that. Like, I'm just going to take these cabinets down. Well, one time, I'm going to tell you a quick story. On the upper level of a bathroom, my main man working for me at the time, my next door neighbor, his name is Matt Tucker, and he was pulling a cabinet, a vanity, off of a bathroom. And when he pulled, I don't know, some plaster off or something, there was a nail in a pipe. And the minute he pulled that out, it pulled the plug out of, it was holding water. And so it was shower time. It was super soaker time. And he knew to run downstairs as fast as his crazy long ass legs would take him. And he got that water shut off right now because I make a big deal about this. No problem, no big deal. But that was like before, we're not even installing anything. We're just taking stuff off of the walls. So it's important and it's up to you to make it important to you to find the water shut off. Here's what I did. I took a measurement in the bathroom and I went off of one of these little grout joints. The center of the sink plumbing, the supply lines to the vanity, about the center of them was 8 feet from that little grout line. Boom. And I come over here and this is what we call the danger zone. So I'm gonna make a little note to myself. And there's a stud right above there. But we know that it's coming from below. So my danger zone is right here, right? Because that danger zone's right here. Got a couple of screws. Who knows what those are going into? Okay, all right. This is caulked in actually, really nice. Wow, they did a really nice job. I think that's silicone. We don't know why this access hole, what'd you call me? We don't know why this access hole was created. I assume what they were doing back in the day is they were gonna try to go right out that wall with the dryer vent. And they're like, you know what? That doesn't make any sense. All right. And then they just went straight down. You can tell they had a little problem. Ho, 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 ho. Look at here. Oh my. All right. Look what I found. Bonk, right? I didn't know that was there. Did you guys? And you'll pick that up with your stud finder. And that's all chopped out. And look where that's at. And then look where the discharge is here that goes straight down. So we just found something. What did we find? All right, what we found is some sort of a stack, a sting pipe, a whatever. Found electrical, found a drain. There's no way that my screws are gonna find that little drain that goes off to the left. Boop, 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 boop. That's funny. Okay, sorry. That was just fun to me. Okay, and that's a big honker, dude. That's a big pipe, big old pipe. And that would accept a screw so easily. It's a 4-inch pipe, 17 3/8 to the center. And I've got to know where that's at, right? 17 3/8. Not a huge deal. I don't know how much water is in there. It might be just a vent pipe for the plumbing downstairs, whatever. But I don't want to run a screw into it. See, I marked that stud right here. Bonk, right there. Now, 17 3/8 plus the drywall that's not here. 17 7/8 is right here. 17 3/8 on the other side with drywall. This doesn't have any drywall, so that is the center of that pipe. Now I'm gonna mark that all the way up, and I know that I can't have a piece of wood there, no matter what, right? So believe it or not, I will use my laser. Obviously I can't measure the top of that without cutting into the wall and all that jazz, right? But I'll use my laser, and look at that. All right, so I did detect where that stud was, okay? And I'm gonna use my laser, and I'm gonna have a piece of tape letting everybody know, including the drywaller, who I've never met. I'm letting him know that there's a pipe in there. Okay, and I'll just leave that tape there, and he'll know. All right. Just like every 2 feet, I'm gonna mark it, okay? Right in that laser. I remember I did this one time, and I was using a Sharpie and writing on masking tape, and my buddy, he said, dude, that's gonna transfer that tape into that paint. It was one of these houses you didn't want that to happen in. And I go, no, it's not, because I've done it 1,400 trillion billion times. Just so you guys know, that Sharpie is not transferring through the tape into this precious artwork. Everybody knows it's there. So now I can start putting on all of these furring strips, because she doesn't want to have contact glue onto this artwork in case someday, down the road, somebody wants to try to restore it to its original glory. So I'm nailing these suckers in place, obviously, getting everything out of my way. One thing that I want to do is, the drywaller, he's going to be drywalling the ceiling. Okay, so when he drywalls the ceiling with 5/8 board, might be 1/2 inch, either way. When he does that, he's going to be covering the majority of my 1.5 inches. So where he's got a chance to run a screw, he really can't. So I'm going to try to set him up with, hook him up with, set him up for success. So pretend we're up at the ceiling. Let's say that this blue tape is the ceiling, right? You see that? If I go right up to the ceiling, then he drywalls here, and he's only just got a wee bit more to run screws. How cool would it be if I dropped this down like 3/4 of an inch so he could tuck his drywall in there freely? It doesn't have to be tight, and then that'll kind of help him, hold the drywall. And then he's got all of this area to run screws into. That's nice. So all I gotta do, I know that my number is 95.5 is my number. Minus another 1.5 inches is 92.5. Minus 3/4 is 91 3/4. So I'm gonna cut these guys at 91 3/4 is a number I'm gonna write down on the wall, because that's my magic number. And I know that I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11. 11 at 91 3/4. Hopefully I have enough. So I had exactly enough. That's awesome, because I just guessed. The homeowner, she's like, I was downstate, the lower peninsula, and she's like, hey, I want you to get some furring strips. She told me about this whole thing. And I happened to be at Home Depot at the time. Okay, what am I gonna get? I guessed right. That's real nice. All right, 91 3/4. And since everything I do is slower than molasses, I'm trying to not cut these individually, cut them all at once. Watched my dad one time cut a huge, not once, many times, cut a stack of trusses, like the tails, with a chainsaw. Just one swipe. He cut all of the tails. He just pounded them all together, much like what I'm doing here, and just grabbed his chainsaw. I'm like, wow. And, but you know what? I told that to so many carpenters, and they're like, that's that guy, he doesn't know what he's doing. I'm like, I don't know. Huh, just like the old man did it. Would ya? All right, so now the cool thing is I got my bottom plate. You guys need to be taller. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my super duper laser level. And when I set this up here, let's start with this guy first. Why? I don't know. Take one down, pass it around. All right, so I'm just gonna go get this going like this. And, whoa, this thing is crooked as a dang politician. I'll tell you what, I know that that's the center, and I know that I can see that 2x4 in that, or I can see that stud in the box. So let's just do this. Make this piece of wood our bitch. And then when I get all done putting these up, I can just set that top plate right on top of all of them. That's awesome. Gosh, I get so sick of being this tall, dark, handsome, and smart. Don't stop what you're thinking. So I'm just tacking these up, you know. I'm in a danger zone here, but I can see that somebody ran a nail into the drywall here. And I picked up with my stud finder the stud, right? So I know the pipes don't go through the stud. So I'm not really worried about it. I mean, I'm concerned-ish. It's so much nicer to have all these pre-cut to the size I need them. That's pretty good paint. Blue tape doesn't pull it off. Just try to hire this artist, you know, put a mural at my house. That's why I'm sweating. Let's put all these things on. Get the old productivity going, would ya? You're so stupid. So this is where that big pipe is. That's what she said. And you'll notice that I'm running my fasteners to the far outside edge of this furring strip, and pointing at an angle that's like away, because you know when that nail hits that pipe. How do I do this? When that nail hits the pipe, just kidding. Okay. You know that if you were to go further away from it, that the sidewall of that pipe is further away. And you also know that if you run it at a slight angle, it's not going to penetrate that sidewall of that pipe. It's going to, since it's on a radius, it's going to just veer off like your grandma after Thanksgiving, after putting down her fair share of wine, champagne, you know, celebrating. So I'm going to hold this off here so that he can get his drywall behind there. Wouldn't that be nice? I'm so nice today. I'm putting this top plate on. I'll call it a top plate. But I'm going to cut that in the middle of this, because if I'm down from the top plate, and there's every reason to think that I am, I don't want this flopping around. I want to go into a stud. And then my next one, to continue the rest of this, you know, the ends of those will make it onto a stud instead of having floppy woppy woo stuff happening. Now he's got a little place to rest his drywall if he wants. You know, it can just sit in there. Yeah, I was able to make a little workbench here. And I didn't want to set up my table saw, so I'm doing this. Has anyone got my jigsaw? Ta-da. I know you're waiting to see what it is I'm doing. Somebody's gonna have to mess with this. So there's a cold air return, and I just wanna have something for the drywall to go against. And at the same time, I want to be able to nail my base molding onto this. You know, before it was just one of those big metal grates on both sides. You know, just one of those big metal grills. It was ugly. I didn't like it. So when my base molding gets going here, I'm just going to cut slots out of the base molding in 2 sections. So I'll cut a set of slots here and a set of slots here, and a set of slots on, 2 sets on this side too. At some point, somehow, I want to be able to drape something thin down here so that you don't see light come through here. That's my plan anyway. Probably what I'll do is I could tape some, or staple on some mesh black fabric to the back side of my base molding before I put it on. That's probably not a bad idea. It might be a metal grill. I just don't want to see light, just beaming through here. That's the important part. So we'll have to see how that goes. I was gonna put, like a piece of wood in there, but I don't want to choke it off. I don't want to choke off the airflow any more than I am already. So I just want to come up with something different.
Let's get back into the shop and at least start some cabinetry fabrication. Stay safe, stay busy, and stay tuned for our next episode, where we tackle an interesting design element in the kitchen.